Okay, here we go. So I'll tell you a story. Um, Before we get started, I'd like to remind you to like the video, comment, subscribe. All right. So when I was growing up, my mom would go to work and leave us kids at home. It would be my older sister and my older brother and me, right? So I was the youngest. And when my mom would come home, she would uh, criticize my sister uh, sometimes, and we would say get on her case. She'd get on her case, which means to you know berate her or criticize her. And she would say, "I work all day. The least you could do is straighten up the house a little bit," or she would say to my sister, "The least you could do is make something for lunch for your for you guys." She probably would have said "you guys," which means all of us kids, because that's the way they say "you guys," even though she was a girl, right? But the least you could do is make your brother some lunch, right? Or you can straighten up the house a little bit, clean the house a little bit. And so the least you could do, the least you could do is usually meant in a sort of there's a kind of a critical tone to it. It's most of the time it's meant to sort of, I don't know, to make a judgment, to make a judgment. Okay, so if I say it's the least you can do, uh, is I'm saying, I'm doing something for you, the least, or I'm paying all of the bills in the house. I'm uh, paying the taxes on this house. I'm paying the rent. The least you could do is to clean up the house a little bit, or she might say to my brother. So I was real little, so I didn't have any like responsibilities. But she would say, the least you could do is mow the yard, right? Because I work all day. So, and it was, I think it was fair to say that, but that's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. That's another idiom, which means that it doesn't matter to the main point of what I'm trying to say. That's neither here nor there. I should probably make another video about that, but that's neither here nor there. Uh, it means that's not my main point. My main point is that you have this expression, that's the least you can do, which is making a judgment about the smallest thing that you should do to make things fair, basically, right? So let's talk about that. All right, so let's see what we got going here. Okay. Okay, I gotta end. Okay. Geez, how many? Okay. Now, this is some examples. Okay, and you'll notice the tone. Now, this one is the least you could do is give it a like, right? So these guys are talking about their videos that they're doing, and they said the least you can do is give it a like, right? And see. Okay.
Money away from your people to live like a king is the least you could do.
Okay. So this was a church that the leaders of the church were living like a king. That's another idiom.
Money away from your people to live like a king.
Live like a king. That's another kind of judgment. You know, you're getting a lot of money to live like a king, right? Live like a king doesn't necessarily have to be negative. You could say, I'm living like a king, right? But that's probably, I would guess that that's probably common in a lot of languages. Okay, so, but this church was getting a lot of money from its members, right? And then there was a big hurricane, Hurricane Harvey, and so they said, you know, the least you could do is open up the church during Hurricane Harvey because they're paying money.
Money away from your people to live like a king. It's the least you could do.
Okay. All right.
Come on, the least you could do is fact check this or
Okay, so this is another like a sort of like a critical tone.
Wrong. When depicting characters of color, the least you could do is have them be portrayed by people with their background.
Okay, so again, this guy that makes this this channel Youglish, he seems to be like taking these from a lot of American liberal talking points, always obsessing about race and stuff like that. Okay, so the least you could do. So now I want to say to you, so I, you know, provide these videos for free. I got some supporters out there that you know, support me financially, but not everybody's got a lot of money, right? And you know, $5 is a lot of money to, let's say, somebody that's living in Venezuela. They're not financially doing very well right now, and there's a lot of countries where $5 is quite a bit. You know, even one of my supporters from Turkey said, you know, $5 is not insignificant in Turkey. And there's probably a lot of countries like that, but there's also a lot of other countries like Saudi Arabia or, you know, Kuwait, where they're wiping their ass on $100 bills and lighting their cigars with $50 bills. And they certainly have enough money to support me. But anyway, even if you don't, the least you could do would be to like the video, right? Instead of being a freeloader. Now, I'm going to explain to you what a freeloader is. Okay. Now, when I was working construction, we would be very, very tired at the end of the day. And a lot of times we would go to the bar. And it would be a scene just about like this, only there was no women there. It was just all guys. And this is what's called a round of drinks. A round of drinks. So that's one drink for everybody, right? And what we would do is usually the one guy would buy the first round, and another guy would buy. So let's say, for example, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people here. So this person would buy the first round, and the next person would buy the next round, and you would take turns, okay? So let's imagine that we got to the 1, 2, 3 people bought a round, and then this guy said, well, I gotta get going, my wife is waiting for me. So it's not like a rule, right? It's not a rule. How can I say it? It's not a strong rule that you have to stay around. So, but if this guy did this all the time, like he was always trying to skip out, people would start calling him a freeloader. A freeloader. Okay? So, you know, when he left, they'd say, this guy's a freeloader, man. He does this all the time. Okay, so a person who takes advantage of the other's generosity without giving anything in return is a freeloader. A freeloader. Okay? So if this guy takes off all the time, he's going to be called a freeloader when he leaves. Or they might say it when he's there. You know, just say, hey, you goddamn freeloader, you're going to buy us a drink before you go, right? And he probably would, right? But he's going to start to become like unpopular. You know, nobody's going to want to drink with him. Here we go. People who avoid buying a round of drinks. Oh my gosh, I'll bet this is talking about how hated they are. Okay. So, but anyway, interestingly enough, that culture is kind of like, it's kind of like in the working culture, because when I worked and then I went to college, right? It was a little bit different than usual. I worked construction for a couple of years, then I worked in a factory, and then I went to college, right? And so I thought that everybody had my way of thinking, like the construction worker thing. But when I got to the university, I would buy a round of drinks, and then, you know, like for example, I was having drinks with me and this guy that was in the military before, and this young girl, right? And I bought a round of drinks, and he said when she left, she took off, right? And like I thought, well, that's pretty dirty, right? She's a freeloader. She's a mooch, right? I mean, that's unheard of where I was from, right? So he goes, yeah. He goes, but he said, I guarantee you, she didn't, you know, like. He said, I know what you are thinking, right? Because I was in the military and everybody had a job, but she just viewed that as thinking that a man was like trying to buy her something. You know what I mean? Women think that sometimes, but I wasn't trying to buy her anything. I had no reason. We weren't like on a date or anything. And so she just took off thinking probably, oh, gee, oh, that's so nice of you, right? And then she just took off. But that's not the way I felt about it. But I kind of don't blame her really, because in that university town, they didn't really have that culture. Everybody bought their own stuff. Okay, that's fine. And actually, in some other places that I've been, they also don't do that. But in the working class world, it's pretty common for people to buy these rounds of drinks, and you're kind of expected to buy yours, but you can be forgiven, right? Because let's say this happened to me before, where I'm not trying to freeload off of anybody, but I just wasn't really, by the time, okay, so this person, hang on, let me get my cursor over here. So like, let's imagine this was me, right? Okay, and so this person buys the first round, this person buys the second round, this person buys the third round. By that time, I'm drunk, and I really do want to leave, right? That's the problem with this cycle, is because you can end up getting drunker than you really want to get. So you feel like you have to buy this round, or otherwise they're going to call you a freeloader or a mooch, right? So, okay, so a freeloader is, by the way, I think I'm going to start doing these long form videos a lot more, okay, than I was before. Okay, derogatory, a person who takes advantage of generosity without giving anything in return. So it doesn't have to be about drinks, okay? I told you this before. When I was a graduate student, people always tried to partner up with me, okay? Because there were native English speakers there and there were non-native English speakers there, and we were all in a graduate course to study TESOL, which is teaching English as a second language, for a couple of years, and then leave and go out and get a job. Well, there were native speakers there and non-native speakers there, but then a lot of times the non-natives would somehow try to pair up with the native speakers, because that was sort of, sometimes they wanted us to do most of the work, but sometimes not. It could work the other way. In the grammar class, the non-natives kicked our ass, right? But anyway, but I had this one girl, and she was the ultimate leech, the ultimate freeloader, because I would come up with all the ideas, I would come up with all of the ideas and what we should do, and I would make the PowerPoints, and I would do this, and she would give like 10%, and she would do some little thing. Oh, I wrote a couple of words in Turkish, and so I helped, but I did most of the work. It was disgusting, and she was the ultimate freeloader. Okay, but there's a lot of ways you can be a freeloader or a leech. I thought I called her a leech in my brain so many times. Okay, here we go. Freeloader. Mooch. Okay, let's go with the North American one. Informal. To ask for or obtain something without paying for it. A bunch of your friends will show up mooching food. The difference between freeloader and mooch is, the key difference I think here is asking for, maybe. I don't know. It's not, I haven't actually thought about it very much. But, okay, so, believe it or not, I can't believe it, but in high school I smoked cigarettes. I guess I thought it made me feel like older or something like that. Can't believe I ever did it. I hate cigarettes. But so we had this thing where we would do this thing where we would bum a cigarette. Bum a cigarette means that your friend has a pack of cigarettes and you, can I bum a cigarette, right? Bum means somebody who asks for something. Can I bum a cigarette, right? And so if I can remember, like, if I did this a couple of times with my buddies, and they would sort of jokingly say, mooch, here you go, right? Mooch means asking for something that you're not paying for it, and they would call me a mooch. You're a mooch, right? How else can we mooch? It could be with anything. It could be with anything, right? Somebody's beer or somebody's... But, I mean, the problem is that some people really are generous and they want to do something nice, right? So there's not always this atmosphere of... So if somebody invites you over there to their house and they put out a dinner, right, and you eat it, they're probably not going to call you a mooch, right? But if they think it's your objective to get something for free, then you're a mooch. You see? So it kind of works like that. If they think that you're taking advantage of them, if they think you're trying to do that and trying to be like real sneaky, then you're a mooch, right? If it's just a kind of you're accepting their generosity, then that's not a mooch. Okay. So all of this is kind of going down the same road. I'm trying to lead you down this thing where I'm talking about something like the least you could do, a round of drinks, mooch, freeloader. Now I want to get to this thing called a parasite. Okay. Now these are leeches. Leeches. Okay. These are disgusting to look at. Okay. I'm not going to go on it too much, but a leech is that thing that I just showed you, but also, to bleed with leeches. Okay. A leech, but also you can call somebody a leech, one that preys on or clings on another, a parasite. Okay, a parasite is any kind of animal that lives off of another one. Like this is a tick. Okay, it's disgusting to look at. Okay, so let's say, for example, you've got one couple. Now I don't want to. My first thing is, oh, could you see that? No, you couldn't. Dang it. Sorry about that. Okay. Sometimes I forget. This is a tick, and it's kind of a parasite. Oh, that's disgusting. All right. These are leeches. Leeches. Okay. I have to, I'm not even sure what you could see. Oh, gosh dang it. All right. So a freeloader is a person who takes advantage of another's generosity without giving them anything in return. A mooch. To ask for or obtain something without paying for it. Oh man, now I'm scared that I didn't show you, because this is actually, it's hard to talk and operate this thing at the same time. Okay, a leech. One that preys on another or clings to another, a parasite. So like let's say if a couple is in a relationship, and let's say I'm just going to create a scenario. One guy, okay, I got a real example. Okay, my sister's ex-husband, okay, he didn't have a job, right? And my sister was working. And so that would sort of be normal in the case if the situation was reversed, but he wasn't like trying to look for a job either. You know what I mean? And so my mom called him like a leech. He's leeching off of you. He's a parasite, right? And so that could be in a certain situation. Actually, I was married a long time ago, and I paid all of the bills, right? And then she just went to school. She went to college, and then she had her part-time job, but I paid all of the bills. All of her money went for her school, and she never paid a single bill. And another thing is, like, if you would ask her to, like, clean up around the house or just wash the dishes or anything, just to, you know, because I was paying all the bills, she would call me a chauvinist, right? No, I don't want to be that kind of wife, you know. And so she was a complete leech, like a parasite, a freeloader. And so that's kind of like why I get rid of her. One of the reasons why I decided that being married wasn't a very good deal. All right, so anyway, let's go back to this thing. Okay, freeload, to take advantage of the charity, generosity, hospitality of others. Okay. Now I got to review this whole thing because I wasn't paying close attention. Okay. So, anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and also, just to let you know that I have this, let's see. This way that you can donate. Okay. Just got it started about, let's say, a month ago. And so you can go to this link. I've got it in the description. You can buy me a coffee for as little as $5, right? It keeps me motivated to keep making videos. I did it for like 5 or 6 years for free, but I'm going to have to start monetizing this somehow, you know. So I enjoy helping people, but it doesn't hurt you to help me either, right? So I will talk to you on the next idiom. Bye.